Broadcasting from Silicon Valley, California, this is Conversations with Jennylyn.
You're watching Conversations with Jennylyn, and as I continue my COVID-19 World interview series, I have another fascinating guest for you today, Marques Ogden. He's a former NFL athlete, a keynote speaker, a business coach, a best-selling author, and I don't want to make the entire interview about his credentials. So why don't I invite him to the show, and he will tell us everything else that we need to know. Marques, thank you so much for taking time out to do this with me.
Absolutely. How are you doing today, Jennylyn?
I'm excited. I get to interview you.
Thank you.
You actually played for the NFL, right?
That's correct.
And which team did you play on?
So I was drafted by the Jaguars down in Jacksonville, Florida, and then played with the Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills.
Wow. Well, I have a lot of respect for you athletes. I would imagine it's very tough for you now being on quarantine because athletes are usually active whether they're playing or not. Am I correct?
You're correct. I'm very active I was active with the gym every, 6 days a week as a speaker, traveling on the road a lot. And it's just been a halt. So yes, it's been very different. I'll put that in a nice way with quarantine, not be able to go places and not traveling out of my state to go do work, which I'm used to doing a lot as a speaker and a consultant and a coach.
What will you change after this? Because I think after this virus, it's setting the bar in so many new directions. I think that the norm as we know it is going to change. As a keynote speaker and a former athlete, how will it change for you?
It's going to go more virtual. It's going to go a lot more webinars, virtual summits. It's going to be a lot more of those interactions through FaceTime, and you're not going to have those big, get-togethers, those big events like we used to have. Now, they'll probably come back in about 6 months to a year, give or take. But for the first, 6 months, maybe even a little bit longer, I don't see a lot of those big events. You might have some of those events, Jennylyn, in the smaller markets, right, where certain areas, I call them like the C or D level cities in a certain states. But as far as like the Miami, Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, you're talking about a minimum in those markets a year, if maybe longer, before you have some of those things come back to normal.
So you, like many, you're discovering you can accomplish a whole lot from home once you have internet.
Absolutely. Once you have internet and have some sort of platform, again, Zoom, WebEx, something where you can actually see people face to face face to face, you can see what their face looks like through camera and through interaction. That's really the way people are doing business today. It really is.
And I think that we are going to realize we can save a lot of money and spare the air by getting in less airplanes, taking less transportation. Personally, I find I get a lot more done when I'm home alone than when I was trying to drive in the car to work or meet people at meetings. The time you take commuting, it's just time that you could accomplish while you're sitting at home in your pajamas.
Oh, I agree. This is where it's going to come down to. Speakers are going to have to get creative, and they're going to have to do a lot more work as far as the webinars, talks like this, the podcast, ways to get out in front of your potential consumers. And you're going to have to offer a product or products that does not involve you just on stage speaking, because right now that is not in high demand. It's just not. What's in high demand is the webinars, but also what's in high demand is can you use some type of virtual training and also some online products and services for residual income if it's priced correctly with the right value. Those are the products and services, Jennylyn, that I'm seeing that are going to be in high demand at this time. And even, I say about 12 months or so after COVID.
Yeah, it's funny how in a situation that most people see as such a negative. It is negative because it's killing people and making people sick. But I've seen a lot of positives come out of this because it's forced us to find some semblance of balance and to become more creative because we have to do what we have to do.
Well, and you said it best. You cannot go through life allowing life to just give you what it wants. You have to go out and take what you deserve. And sure, it's disheartening. I mean, a person like me, like speaking was my main way. Well, one, it was definitely the primary way of getting out there.
Mhm.
And I don't have that right now. So you don't see me at home sulking, sitting at the couch, hating life. I'm out there and I've pivoted. Again, more talks like this, more interviews, more things out we can put out to people can put out to their audience, right? These are the type of things that you must do in my line of work. So whatever line of work you're in, you need to find a way to pivot as best you can to get from where you are to where you want to be. Otherwise, you'll always be complaining about what life is not giving you, and you're not going to go out and get what you want.
Well, first of all, it doesn't come spiraling down the ceiling. So many people sit around waiting for things to happen. You have to make things happen. And I've always been that way. I've always gotten an idea and it resonated and it felt like something that I should do, and I just got up and did it. And a lot of times I've surprised myself because even though I was, taking that daring step of doing it, I wasn't sure how it would work out. And, it's always worked out. So tell me about you and when you became a football player and how you got there.
I mean, really for me, I played football all through high school, all through college, and it was really about dealing with adversity and overcoming a lot of negativity and a lot of challenging times. And, as an athlete, I learned how to really lean on leadership and setting a good culture, teamwork, communication. But becoming an athlete in the professional sense was very hard because a lot of people want to do it, but there's only so many slots that you have for athletes in the National Football League. So it's a very challenging, very arduous, very, tedious road to travel. But I was very fortunate to have some great people around me, some great mentors and leaders. And I went from, being a collegiate athlete, and then I had almost a 6-year career in the National Football League.
Oh, wow. So why do you think that like you said, and this is the question that I've always had on my mind, but I've never had a chance to ask an athlete who actually participated in the league. So I'm going to ask you, you are right, it's very competitive. And I know many young men who want to be national football players. What it is about Marques that got you there?
Really what got me there was just my work ethic. I mean, literally, I was working out, doing everything I had to do without someone telling me. I was very self-start sufficient in my craft. And that's what I call inspiration today when I speak for audiences, webinars, whatever the case may be. It's about having an inspiration-driven, value system, not being motivated just to do something for the short term because somebody else wants you to do so. So I would say that the ability to, be a self-starter and be inspired to do my craft is what made me different to get to the National Football League.
What do you want to say to a young man out there who wants to do this and it's his passion? A few weeks ago, I interviewed someone who wanted to become a football player, and he got a brain tumor at 11 years old and was told he would die. And unfortunately, fortunately, he did not die, but unfortunately lost his sight. And he went on to become a lawyer and is now counseling people. What would you say to a young man who wants to do what you've done, be a national football player, but keeps being rejected? What's the message you have for that person?
I would tell them that they just have to look within themselves and figure out what want to excel at, and then surround yourself with people who have either been there or know the value of hard work to the highest level, and that's going to get you to where you want to be. It's so important who we surround ourselves with to help us get to where we want to go. So I would tell any young person that wants to be an NFL athlete, figure out what you do well in football, and then surround yourself with people who've been there or mentors that have been there that can help you with the shortcomings or the deficiencies that you're not good at, to strengthen those to give you the best chance to get where you want to go.
What did you find most challenging as a football player?
Oh, it was just the grueling demand it took on your body, the physical and mental toll it took to play the game at a high level all year round, between off season, mini camp, training camp, the season, playoffs. It's just a grueling, mentally and physically draining process. It's worth it, but it takes so much of a toll on your body that if you don't have the right mental disposition and your body's not strong enough to endure what you're going to endure for, each year, you don't need to play the game.
Do you have a son?
I do not. I have 2 daughters.
Okay, but if you had a son and he wanted to play football, what would you want him to? Would you encourage him to?
So I have a nephew. My brother's son is playing football right now. He's a sophomore in high school, and we're encouraging him to play. As long as the game is fun to him and he's enjoying it, we want him to play. The minute it stops being fun, the minute he's not enjoying it or not advancing in his progression of playing the game, then we want him to stop. So, right now he's enjoying it. He's doing very well. He's having a good time. It's building some great friendships for him. So I tell him to keep playing. But if he doesn't enjoy it, then I want him to stop playing, because if he's not enjoying it, he's just out there, he can get hurt.
Mm-hmm. And I know that this may seem like an off-colored question, but I have to ask you. You guys get so much accolade from your fans. How do you stay modest? How do you stay from getting the big head, as they say? How do you keep yourself from doing that? I know some people do, but I picked up from your personality, you are not one of those people. That's why I asked you to do this interview. I just wanted to ask you, how do you keep yourself from, staying true to who you are and not getting big-headed?
Jennylyn, if you look at it as a job or your career, then you'll be fine. If you look at it as a way of life, or you're better than other people because you are an athlete, you won't last long. So I always took the position that it was a career and a job that I was doing to support myself and my future family. And that's how I treated it as. Athletes that do that do well. The ones where they make it like their lifestyle all the time, they're always ego-driven because they're on TV and this, that, and the other. Those are the ones that don't make it. And then when they get out of sports, the fans don't like them anymore because they're not playing anymore, and they were not very nice to the fans while they were playing. It hurts your brand after the game. So I always looked at conducting myself as it was a career and a job that I was very honored to do, and that when I got out of football, I knew it wasn't gonna be forever. I want to have the reputation that people like me as a person, not some arrogant person that played sports, that when my career is over and I wasn't playing anymore and I wasn't nice as I should have been, they were just going to push me to the side. So it's all about realizing it's a career/job that you have to perform. It's not a way of life.
So you are a best-selling author. Do you want to tell me, have you written one book, many books? And would you like to tell me about one of them, if it's more than one?
I've written 2 books, and the one book I like to talk about is called The Success Cycle, which is available right now on Barnes & Noble online, Amazon online, and it's actually in every Barnes & Noble bookstore across the country. It's the Success Cycle talks about 3 main facets that you need to have to achieve success. Ambition, which is about setting your goals, creating your blueprint for success. drive, that's talking about being inspired over motivated to make a long-term systemic positive change. And the last one is hard work. Focus on yourself and not the competition. If you can do those three things in life, you have the best chance to achieve success for whatever you want to do.
Great. I'm going to look for your book. I'm sure I'll get some great tips and inspiration from it.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Did you leave football knowing this is what you would do, that you would become a keynote speaker and an author? Did you begin writing while you were playing?
Well, I did a couple things before that. Got into construction and failed miserably and lost everything in a bad business deal. And then I transitioned, blindly into I want to get into financial planning. I want to get back into construction. And then in 2013, September, I had a pivotal moment, and that's when I made the decision I was going to focus on the career of speaking. And it took me a long time, 2.5 years, to get my first paid job. But that was when I made the decision I was going to do other things to support my family, but I was going to pursue the desired choice of my own to become a speaker, and that was in September 2013.
Do you feel it's your passion? Because this is my passion.
Absolutely, it's my passion. It's my passion is speaking, coaching, consulting. I love interviews like this. Football was a passion of mine in my early adult life, my teens and my 20s. Construction was not my passion. I just did it to make money. I didn't enjoy it. When I looked at financial planning, got back into construction, they were just to pay the bills. I enjoyed teaching football to the youth, but I knew my body wasn't gonna have that for long. So speaking, coaching, consulting, what I'm doing now, without a doubt, Jennylyn, is my passion for sure.
And how do you get your events where you speak? Do you belong to an organization? Do you have a private company that hires you to give talks when they have events? How does that work for you?
And I just have companies that hire me I'm very active on social media, like how you found me on LinkedIn. I have a great website. I have a great team around me. We do a lot of email marketing, social media marketing, and people have started to know us, and they'll reach out to us now about events, or they have upcoming for like mortgages or real estate, whatever the case may be. So it's been a lot of, laying the ground and foundational work to now where people just contact us and reach out to us about us working for them.
Okay, so I'm very intrigued, and I think you're a great speaker, so I would imagine that your talks are always inspiring. Tell me, as a very active person and who's played football and has written books, and what is COVID-19 doing to your life now?
COVID-19 is making me realize that there's 5 main attributes that you need to have success, which is character, letting people know who you are and what you stand for, helping people achieve their objectives, that's the O. V, to me, is helping people achieve their vision and their long-term strategy. I is using your intellect to make decisions cognitively, not emotionally. And D is being direct with people. Don't waste people's time. Right now in COVID-19, we have a lot of time on our hands, not going anywhere. We don't have time to waste because a lot of us right now might not have a job, trying to figure out what we're going to do, how we're going to pivot, how we're going to support our family. So don't waste people's time. And so those things to me, those 5 acronyms to me is what COVID stands for: character, objectives, vision, intellect, directness. But what's done for me, Jennylyn, is helped me spend more time with my family, my wife, my children, and it's made me realize that there's a lot more to life than just on the road all the time. You want to be at home and be a role model, and you want to have a strong family foundation, because without a strong family foundation, nothing else really matters.
You've got your priorities in order, I see.
Have to.
I share that particular value with you. A lot of people I've noticed, it's more about money. They feel that making money comes first and then the family after. I believe that you should find a balance somewhere in the middle of them both.
I agree. Because if you don't have a family to share your stuff with, then who are you leaving it for? Because we can't take it with us, and we're not here forever. So what's your legacy going on that you want to leave behind? And that's what it's all about.
Some people are going to hate me for this, but it's my personal opinion that some empty people define themselves by that.
Oh, I agree. I mean, that's fine. Look, people can define themselves however they want to in life, but don't be upset and don't be mad when you turn around as we grow older and you have nobody there in your corner to support you, on your deathbed, and you have no one there, no family, no loved ones, no friends, and you're like, wow, I'm just all by myself. I spent my entire life to be here all alone with nobody to share with and to be here for me. So that's up to them. That's totally their choice. They'll make the decision. Whatever they decide, they have to live with it.
Yeah, we've all got free will. Are you familiar with the numbers where you live, the COVID
Yes.
cases? You want to share those with us?
Yeah, I think right now we're up to about maybe 30. We're up to about 40,000 cases. We've had about 500 deaths. I think pretty much almost over all the age of 70. Not all, but most over the age of 70. Our numbers are starting to kind of level off somewhat. They're not spiking anymore. So we'll see how it goes as we reopened our state phase 1, which was this past weekend. So we'll see how it progresses and kind of just go from there.
And you said you were in North Carolina, is that correct?
It's correct.
Yeah. Wow, you guys have had a lot of deaths. I mean, compared to California, it's not a lot, but I'm still surprised to hear that you have.
We have a population of a lot of people that are elderly in our area. So that's what it is.
Yes.
A lot of nursing homes and things like that are in this area.
Oh, okay. I've never been there. Is it a very densely populated city?
Well, North Carolina's a pretty big state. It's about 10 hours across from coast to coast. A lot of people are in the area of Raleigh, Durham, which is where I live. So it's very heavily populated here. But a lot of our state is very rural, a lot of countryside, things like that. So again, a lot of our population is older, farmers, in the nursing homes. So unfortunately, we've had a few more deaths than a lot of other places, which is it's horrible to have them anywhere. But we've had a few more here because of our population having a little bit older and the type of work that we do in this area.
Okay, because I noticed the places where they quarantined early and where they've kept people on quarantine, they've had less deaths and less contaminations. And I've noticed cities where people use a lot of trains and public transportation. They seem to have had more contaminated cases. Do you have the similar type public transportation as they do in New York?
No, we do not. No.
Okay. All right. Well, you said that you're entering to a phase. Earlier in this conversation, you told me phase 1, where they're opening up some businesses.
Correct.
What are they opening? What are they reopening?
Like home goods, Dick's Sporting Goods. A lot of the clothing stores and things like that are starting to slowly reopen now in phase 1.
And is it mandatory that people wear masks and gloves every time they go out?
It's not mandatory, but it's highly encouraged.
Mm-hmm. So nobody's getting a fine if they don't wear it?
No, but everywhere I've been in my area, I live in a very affluent area of the Raleigh-Durham area, everybody has masks on.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any concerns about them entering into this phase where they're opening up some of those businesses again?
No, I think it's time to see where we are and get a chance to see how we progress. If our numbers start to spike, then I can see us regressing into maybe not being in phase 1. But I think if people keep wearing masks and doing things that they're supposed to do, we should have a pretty good outcome.
And what did this pandemic teach you?
It taught me a lot about just being patient and not trying to push for everything all the time, and just realizing that it's just a lot of times things aren't in our hands to control. So we just need to be able to do what we need to do and just be focusing on what we can control.
And do you have any messages that you want to leave for people that are watching my show?
The last thing I'll leave people is this. You have to believe it before you see it. If you don't believe in yourself and have confidence in yourself, nobody else will. And there's 3 ways you can show and have good confidence: good physiology, move with some energy, some passion, some conviction. Number 2 is you need to believe at your core that you deserve to succeed. Really believe that down to your core. And third thing you have to always do is you have to make sure that you're surrounding yourself with the right people, right? So again, and you have to surround yourself with the right people who are going to push you to achieve that success. So again, have good physiology. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, control your mental focus and have a good surrounding group of people. And 3, just make sure that you always believe that you deserve to succeed. You can do those 3 things. You can be confident. And if you have confidence in your abilities, there's nothing you can't accomplish.
You seem pretty young. Is there a reason why you stopped playing football so early?
Yeah, I'm 39. I'm 39 years old, and I got beat up. It's the same thing that happens to a lot of us. Your body gets abused, and you can't take the punishment anymore. And you just realize, yep, this is time for me to move on, because that's what happened to me. It's the day I realized I couldn't perform my job at a high level. It's the day I said, enough is enough. I can't do this anymore.
Are you still in touch with a lot of the guys you played with?
Of course, yes. Oh, I go to a lot of games, different cities.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I go to the games and talk to guys. That's a big part that's the big part of what I do today.
Oh, so some of the people you give talks to are football players.
Sure.
I'm sure they're very grateful. What is usually the outlying message you share with them?
It varies. It could be leadership. It could be diversity and inclusion. It could be on how to manage your finances. It could be on how to promote a healthy culture. There's all types of different things and ways that we do the talks, and it depends upon exactly what the need is.
When I first started my show 10 years ago, one of my first guests was a former football player from the San Francisco 49er team who was on the first winning team. And one of the things yes, I felt very lucky because I had just started my show. One of the things he told me is that drugs are a big problem in the NFL, and that in order to be cool, he got caught up in that and sort of ruined his career. Is that still something that is a problem today in the NFL? And if you don't feel comfortable answering.
Oh no, it's not a problem anymore because they have drug policies and things like that in place for testing. So that's no longer an issue like it was back then.
Oh, that's great. So now they test you guys to make sure that you don't get carried away.
Absolutely, they do.
Because apparently it's ruined many an NFL career, and I think that's very, very sad.
Yeah.
One good thing is that person is now spearheading an organization that is helping young people in rehab. So that was something good that has come out of a sad situation.
Very true.
Well, I am so grateful that you took the time. Did I neglect to ask you anything that you want to make sure you leave with my viewers?
No, just if they want to reach out to me for either type of speaking, coaching, or consulting, they can go to our website, www.marques, MARQUES, Ogden, OGDEN.com, and reach out to us, and we can connect with them from there.
Great. When is your next speaking engagement, and do you come to California to do any of them?
I come to California a lot. I'll be in California. It's going to probably be now like November. It's been pushed back, but my next speaking engagement is in July here in Raleigh for a real estate company.
Okay, so anyone who wants you, they get in touch with you and then you go to them. But like you said earlier, you may be doing some of these on webinars and Zoom like you and I are doing this.
Correct.
Well, listen, I am so grateful. I know you're in your car on your way somewhere and you fit me into your busy schedule. I'm very grateful. As soon as I have this interview up, I'll send it to you. Take care, enjoy the rest of your day, and stay COVID-free.
Sounds good, Jennylyn. You do the same. I'll talk to you soon.
Yes, thank you so much. And thank you for watching Conversations with Jennylyn. When a conversation is all you need to be inspired, like this great segment I just shared with Marques. And I hope I'm saying your name correctly.
You are.
Thank you. And I'll see you next time.